Hello, Hammond Wolf Cubs, families, and veterans, and welcome to our first ever virtual Veterans Day program. My name is Mrs. Cook, and I teach kindergarten here at Hammond. I am so excited to still share this special day with you, even if we cannot all be together. I am happy to introduce to you our guest speaker, retired Colonel John Long from the United States Air Force, and he just also happens to be my uncle.
Hello, my name is John Long. I'm a retired colonel from your United States Air Force. Thank you, Ms. Cook, for asking me to make a few comments on this most wholesome day, Veterans Day. I'd like to read you a short story on the origins of the red poppy. You might remember seeing outside a store during the holidays, Memorial Day and Veterans Day, even during the Christmas time, veterans handing out a red poppy that can be displayed on your lapel or shirt. Well, I'm going to read you a story about what the significance of that poppy is. From 1914 to 1918, World War I took a greater human toll than any other previous conflict, with some 8.5 million soldiers dead of battlefield injuries or disease. The Great War, as it was then known, also ravaged the landscape of Western Europe, where most of the fiercest fighting took place. From the devastated landscape of the battlefields, the red poppy would grow, and thanks to a famous poem, became a powerful symbol of remembrance. Across northern France and Flanders, the northern part of Belgium, the brutal clashes between Allied and Central Powers soldiers tore up fields and forests, tearing up trees and plants, and wreaking havoc on the soil beneath. But in the warm, early spring of 1915, bright red flowers began peeking through the battle-scarred land. As Chris McNabb, author of the Book of the Poppy, wrote in an excerpt published in The Independent, the brilliantly colored flower is actually classified as a weed, which makes sense given its tenacious nature. Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, a Canadian who served as a brigade surgeon for an Allied artillery unit, spotted a cluster of poppies that spring, shortly after the Second Battle of Ypres. McCrae tended to the wounded and got a first-hand look at the carnage of the clash, in which the Germans unleashed lethal chlorine gas for the first time in the war. Some 87,000 Allied soldiers were killed, wounded, or went missing in the battle, as well as 37,000 on the German side. A friend of Lieutenant Colonel McCrae, Lieutenant Colonel Alexis Helmer, was among the dead. Struck by the sight of bright red blooms on the broken ground, McCrae wrote a poem titled In Flanders Field, in which he channeled the voice of the fallen soldiers buried under those handy poppies. Published in Punch magazine in late 1915, the poem would be used at countless memorial ceremonies and became one of the most famous works of art to emerge from the Great War. Its fame had spread far and wide by the time McCrae himself died from pneumonia and meningitis in January 1918. Across the Atlantic, a woman named Mona Michael read In Flanders Field in the pages of Ladies' Home Journal that November, just 2 days before the armistice. A professor at the University of Georgia at the time the war broke out, Michael had taken a leave of absence to volunteer at the New York headquarters of the Young Women's Christian Association, the YWCA, which trained and sponsored workers overseas. Inspired by McCrae's verses, Michael wrote her own poem in response, which she called We Shall Keep Faith. As a sign of this faith and remembrance of the sacrifices of Flanders Field, Michael vowed to always wear a red poppy. She found an initial batch of fabric blooms for herself and her colleagues at an independent department store. After the war ended, she returned to the university town of Athens, Georgia, and came up with the idea of making and selling red silk poppies to raise money to support returning veterans. Michael's campaign to create a national symbol of remembrance, a poppy, in the colors of the Allied nations' flags entwined around a victory torch, didn't get very far at first. But in the mid-1920s, she managed to get Georgia's branch of the American Legion, a veterans group, to adopt the poppy, minus the torch, as a symbol. Soon after that, the National American Legion voted to use the poppy as the official U.S. national emblem of remembrance when its members convened in Cleveland in September 1920. On the opposite side of the Atlantic, a French woman named Anna Guerin, had championed the symbolic power of the red poppy from the beginning. Invited to the American Legion Convention to speak about her idea for an Inter-Allied Poppy Day, Madame Guerin helped convince the Legion members to adopt the poppy as their symbol and join her by celebrating National Poppy Day in the United States the following May. Back in France, Guerin organized French women, children, and veterans to make and sell poppies as a way to fund the restoration of a war-torn France. As Heather Johnson argues on her website devoted to Madame Guerin's work, the French woman may have been the single most significant figure in spreading the symbol of the Rembrandt's poppy, though the British Commonwealth countries and other nations. Within a year, Guerin brought her campaign to England, where in November 1921, the newly founded Royal British Legion held its first ever Poppy Appeal, which sold millions of the soaked flowers and raised over £106, a hefty sum at the time, to go towards finding employment and housing for Great War veterans. The following year, Major George Howson set up the Poppy Factory in Richmond, England, in which disabled servicemen were employed to make the fabric and paper blooms. Other nations soon followed suit in adopting the poppy as their official symbol of remembrance. Today, nearly a century after World War I ended, millions of people in the United Kingdom, Canada, France, Belgium, Australia, New Zealand don the red flowers every November 11th, known as Remembrance Day or Armistice Day, to commemorate the anniversary of the 1918 armistice. According to McNabb, the Poppy Factory, now located in Richmond, England, and Edinburgh, Scotland, is still the center of poppy production, churning out as many as 45 million poppies made of various materials each year. In the United States, the tradition has developed a little differently. Americans don't typically wear poppies on November 11th, Veteran Days, which honor all living veterans, but sometimes they do. Many times they wear the symbolic red flower on Memorial Day, the last day and Monday, to commemorate the sacrifice of so many men and women who gave their lives fighting their country. So I encourage you to read In Flanders Field by John McCrae. I encourage you to remember the sacrifices that veterans made. We celebrate it twice a year. Veterans Day is for those who are still alive. Memorial Days are for those who paid the ultimate sacrifice and are no longer with us. So with that, I hope you have a great school year in this troubling time. And thank you, Ms. Cook. God bless all.
Thank you, Uncle John. I hope you all learned some interesting facts about the famous poppy flower. Next, we have a special slideshow featuring our Hammond family and all of the beautiful banners and artwork you all have made. Enjoy!
When I think about America, I think of so many things. It's my country, the United States, and it means so much to me. Green, green forests, having nice schools, voting for the president, red, white, and blue, playing in my neighborhood, believing in dreams. Oh, this is America to me. Celebrating holidays, pledge to our flag, great big mountains, learning all you can, all different colors, being what you want to be. Whoa, this is America to me. Whoa, this is America, land that I love, my country, the United States, under one shining sun. So many different people, together proud and free. This is America, America to me. All kinds of ice cream, animals on farms, pilgrims at Thanksgiving, trains and cars, helping each other, people I love. Oh, this is America to me. Whoa, this is America, land that I love. My country, the United States, under one shining sun. So many different people, together proud and free. This is America, America to me. This is America, land that I love. My country, the United States, under one shining sun. So many different people, together proud and free. Oh, this is America, America to me. This is America, America to me.
Happy Veterans Day!
Thank you for watching. Thanks to all who helped with this wonderful program, and most of all, thank you veterans for your service. Happy Veterans Day!